There has recently been a lot of talk about Apple working on a virtual reality headset which could be used for VR gaming, but in my opinion, I don't think a lot of people are gonna buy it, and I'll explain why in just a minute. I'm also gonna be discussing my experience with the Oculus Quest 2 VR headset, which is the best mainstream gaming headset so far. But before I get into that, let's go through the history of Apple VR headset leaks and rumors. Way back in 2008, over 12 years ago, Apple was reportedly researching a laser-based head-mounted display, but since the tech was so old back then, it relied on using an iPod and a compact laser engine that attaches to your belt. So this shows that Apple's been interested in head-mounted displays for many years now. Way later in 2013, Apple was granted a patent for a goggle-like video headset designed to allow users to view media while on the go. There was even an image of a cable connecting an iPod to the headset, and that's because the patent was originally filed in 2008. Then in 2015, Apple hired on a small team working on augmented reality projects with the goal of creating a wearable device. Only 2 months later, Apple acquired the augmented reality startup Metaio, which focused on building virtual reality experiences. And then in 2016, Apple hired Doug Bowman, a lead virtual reality researcher who actually worked on a bunch of different headsets like the Oculus Rift, Microsoft HoloLens, and even Google Glass. And just a few days later, it was revealed that Apple had a secret team working on a virtual reality headset with hundreds of employees exploring both VR and augmented reality. And apparently, they had already built prototype VR headsets which were inspired by the Oculus Rift, and that was way back in 2016. 2 years later, the VR developer studio named Survios stated that Apple is putting a lot of effort and passion into virtual reality, including VR gaming. A little bit later, it was revealed that the YouTuber Mark Rober was actually helping Apple work on an anti-motion sickness VR technology headset for use in the future autonomous Apple car. The point was that the car would be able to drive itself, so you can kick back and enjoy some media using a VR headset while you drive to work, which honestly seems like a dream come true if it actually ends up working out. But unfortunately, Mark Rober confirmed that he left that position in 2019. And a year later, Apple filed a new patent showing that they're still interested in this VR headset technology meant to battle motion sickness by creating an immersive world with a virtual environment. And now, finally, in 2021, we just got a bunch of specific details on what to expect from Apple's VR headset, so let's get right into the new leaks and rumors. A couple of weeks back, Mark Gurman reported that Apple's first virtual reality headset will be a pricey, niche precursor to a more ambitious augmented reality product. It'll display an all-encompassing 3D digital environment for gaming, watching video, and communicating, with Apple launching it as soon as 2022. Apparently, the price will be far more expensive than those from rivals, with Apple not really expecting to sell that many of them, so it'll be a high-end niche product like the Mac Pro. The report also says that Apple plans to pack in higher resolution displays in the headset than those in current VR offerings, which might explain the high price. And it's also supposed to get much more powerful chips than even the M1 chip in recent Macs. Mark even says that Apple could include a fan in the device, pointing to a ton of graphics performance being built in. Now, on the other hand, Apple is also working on augmented reality glasses, codenamed N421, which could be released as early as 2023. And Apple was also said to be working on hand tracking features like typing on a keyboard in midair. And just 2 days ago, we got another report from the China Times about Apple's VR headset releasing in the first quarter of 2022 with LiDAR technology, which is already in use in Apple's iPhone 12 Pro and their iPad Pro. The report says that the design of the headset will look very similar to that of other VR headsets. JP Morgan believes that this headset will be targeted at the top end of the consumer market, being more expensive than other VR headsets, with the device's materials also exceeding $500, which shows that Apple could be charging big bucks, potentially over $1,000 for this headset. And just yesterday, we got even more details, and this is where it starts to get very exciting, but also very disappointing. The information reported that Apple's upcoming VR headset is set to feature dual 8K displays. Yes, not one, but dual 8K displays. This is insane because the current most popular Oculus Quest 2 headset features dual 2K displays. And in my experience, it actually looks pretty good, and I'll get to that in just a minute. Running dual 8K displays means that you would need a ton of graphics performance or some kind of upscaling technology, so it would make sense why it would come with a built-in fan from that previous rumor. The headset will apparently come packed with more than a dozen cameras for tracking hand movements, with some of the cameras tracking eye movements within the headset as well, and apparently the cameras will record the environment in front of you and pass it on through the display so you can get a mixed reality effect. The information said that they actually viewed a late-stage prototype which showed a sleek, curved visor attached to the face by a mesh material and with swappable headbands. So I wonder if it's the same kind of mesh used in the AirPods Max headphones. Apparently, you can also swap out the headband based on what you need, like having spatial audio technology or additional battery life. There will also be multiple ways to control the headset, including a thimble-like device worn on a person's finger, or of course, eye and hand movements. And there could be a dial on the side of the visor, which will probably be a crown like on the Apple Watch. Now here comes the crazy part. They said that Apple internally discussed pricing the headset around a massive $3,000, which absolutely blows my mind. But apparently, Microsoft's HoloLens 2 is also very expensive at $3,500, so it might try to compete with that. That Microsoft headset is a very niche product meant for high-end professional use. So it kind of seems like Apple's headset might be going the same route if this is true, but based on all of the features that I just mentioned, like having over 12 cameras and dual 8K displays, it makes sense why it could be so expensive. And that right there is the main reason why most people will not be buying Apple's VR headset. Because even if Apple significantly drops the price from that $3,000 estimate, it's still gonna be way too expensive for most consumers. Even at $1,000, it's overkill for most people because the current best VR headset, the Oculus Quest 2, is only $300 on Amazon, and most people should honestly just buy that instead. It basically offers a complete VR headset in one package with a comfortable headband, built-in speakers, and decent displays. The 2.5-hour battery life is just enough for a long VR gaming session, and you can use a battery bank if you need more. There's a wide variety of available games like Population 1, which I really enjoyed since it features a battle royale style map and really nice gameplay. But my favorite game was Beat Saber, and I was impressed with how well the controls and tracking worked, so I've got to say that the Oculus Quest 2 is the first VR headset which is actually great. And at its $300 purchase price, it's affordable to most people, being cheaper than a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. Now I know that Apple's VR headset will be the mother of all VR products, and it might even revolutionize virtual reality, but I think if it's priced at anywhere near $2,000 or $3,000, I don't think most people are gonna be interested. So there you guys have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, tap the like button below, click the circle above to subscribe, check out one of those two videos right over there. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.